Okay, I think we might have gotten there. It's very possible. It's very possible that we got to have internet on the first try. And we can just get going on today's stream after completely failing to adhere to our new scheduling guidelines. After, I think, a couple days in a row of making it on time to stream, today we just fucked up very badly. Now we are absolutely going to hop into it on the earlier side. Pokemon, I can already see you in here. Grath, I already see you in here. I'm very sorry for the delay. It has been Maulhound and the terrible, no good, awful day, and I'm very sorry to have kept you all waiting. Scryfall's just here for any additions. We are going to move very quickly to the deck roasting after I get settled here. Otakit Fun on YouTube, and anybody that's wondering about the deck roasting, it is a Patreon redeem. It is the $25 tier in addition to everything else on Patreon. You get to submit one free deck roast per month. Rick Dom, thank you for coming by the stream, even though you can't stay. I appreciate seeing your lovely little avatar and reading your internet words. Smash, because it's the Vampire Soldier and not the big weird bird thing. Exemplar, you're fourth, so you're halfway through. So you should be good for at least half an hour anyway. Nox, thank you for the drink water redeem. I'm gonna drink coffee. Troper, would you believe me if I told you I had it on the schedule today and then a bunch of bad shit happened and then none of my planned things got done past like 2 p.m.? Okay, because that is in fact, yeah. I should be fine. I should have it, you know, for all the action items that need to be actioned for the things that are making me have a less than good day are being actioned. So nobody needs to worry about that. Joe Salsa, the Warhammer, so the Warhammer Mauled Learns Warhammer stream was supposed to start today. New roast is live. Get in the comments. It's only live on YouTube. TikTok can eat my ass. I had to post an ad today. So the Warhammer, the set review, it should be a sub goal tomorrow. We have another deck review stream tomorrow. I'll count all subs today for it. So for anybody that doesn't know, or maybe I can set it up now, actually. We'll set up the sub goal. We'll set up the sub goal right now, and then we'll get into the deck roasting. Subscriber goal settings. I don't need a tutorial. I've done this like 18 times. Settings, no. Manage goal, reset goal. Goal date must be in future. End goal, we got there. Warhammer stream. $50. I'll give it we'll give it a month. We'll give it a month to get the Warhammer stream done. Subscriber goal, start goal. Oh, 0. Oh no, we'll do 1 for Jam. God bless you, Jam. And then can I... Now the real question, can I edit this while I'm not live? I can. Haha! I've tricked you, internet. Alright, we have a sub goal live. Pokemon, I think we'll define that as we get to it. Also, Jam Donut, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub for 8 months in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. Do I like mini golf? I enjoy the idea of it, but it hurts my back gives out pretty quickly when I play golf or mini golf. All right. So let's set up the context for these deck roasts. What you give me. Power level. We do not accept numbers. We only accept silly, spooky, scary. That is the degree of how ominous and or threatening each of your individual turns are. All of your decks should always have a goal and a way to win. The silly one is going to be more cartoony, more work. The spooky one, people that know what to look out for are going to know what you're up to. And scary, anybody would know what you were up to from watching one of your turns. Peeps, got it. Then you send a primer. This is what you think your deck is or what you aspire for it to be. Then you say if you want suggestions or not. And then you say what the deck is in one word. So first up, we've got Peeps, who has submitted a spooky deck titled Slay Queen. The primers, this is my favorite paper deck I own. I've been working on it since 2018, back when it was a War Weaver deck. It wants to attack so it can use many attack triggers with Wolfgar as a doubler, with cards like Henzi, Jaxus, and Fable to make tokens for me to egg. Other eggs go to whatever I think will block or be killed with spells or Hirobi. Overall, it's a Jund fun list with many cards I feel are good but never see play. I know Atali's not in the deck. That's because I don't care for it and find it boring. That sounds like perfection. That sounds like what I want out of a commander deck. You're doing bullshit. You're trying to figure out what underplayed bullshit works because of your commander. Exemplar Invictus, thank you for gifting 2 community subs. Welcome to Dog Heaven and getting us into the single-digit percentage points on the sub goal. So we've got Zyra the Golden Sting, 3/3 flyer haste. When she attacks, you get an egg counter on a creature. When it dies, you get to draw a card and make a 1/1 insect. All right. You have 35 lands, which good job. First and foremost, we're going to shit check if you fell victim to the damn dirty token doublers. You did not. Well, that is just impressive. Tags too. All right, we're going to turn on tags. Kills your things. All this removal. Oh, one of the most assholey cards in the game. And then just a big old buff guy. Just a big old you gotta block this person. Born to Die. Okay. So do we have Bet? What on earth is so Great Train Heist. I mean, yeah, honestly, this is great for you because you want to swing. Fog. Funniest free spell. Objectively, the funniest free spell you could have included. Okay, so Rekindling Phoenix comes back over and over. Solemn Simulacrum just dies. We have another Fog. Tenacious Underdog. I am confused a little bit on what these are doing. Okay, Amzu makes a ton of sense just because you're making insects. Anger makes a ton of sense. Death Greeter's Champion is interesting. Oh, Jesus. And Halana and Elena. And Magical Girl, Gnome Killer, and Wolfgar. Okay. So combat buff. So you're just giving one thing double strike. Effectively is what I'm reading here. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Henzi. Jaxus. And then ramping up Signet Birds, Cultivate, Deathrite, Shaman. That's a little weird. Free Strider, Lookout. When you commit a crime, your commander counts as a crime, yeah? Yeah, a crime on every attack trigger. You definitely get away with some crime triggers. Magda Hordemaster for sure. Spitting Dilophosaurus. Also a crime. Interesting. I mean, Ravenous Tyrannosaurus is just good. I'm assuming you can sacrifice all of the 1/1 insects you're hoping to make. Pathbreaker Ibex, I'm incredibly unsold on, only because I don't see too many other things that have large individual powers. You have a couple, but it's like you have Gargaroth, you have Archon, you have Ravenous. But if Ravenous Tyrannosaurus is not on the field, Pathbreaker Ibex probably feels like shit. This really is, look at all these guys I like. There's 45 creatures, not a theme among them. I realize you've put them in tags. Not one theme exists here. These are the 45 coolest creatures Peeps owns, which is a legitimate way to build your commander deck, but it is very funny to me. Moloch is okay. I think Moloch non-bows with your commander, because this is if it would die, exile it instead, so you can't even do things to pop an egg counter with Moloch. Hirobi's pretty fucking funny. Hirobi does non-bow with your commander because you'll just kill everything as you try to put egg counters on it, but that is also hilarious in and of itself. So I'll let you have that one. And then we have two tutors for my stuff. And this is like, I think this is a deck where I would be inclined to say, like, sure, you get tutors, because there is no linchpin, because there is no strategy other than, oh boy, look at this guy. I really like this guy. Watch him bite you. Orin Frostfang being this far away from Finn the Fangbearer is fucking hilarious. I just want to see real quick. You got Maze of Ith up in here? Okay. No mulligans, because that's the only fair way to investigate a deck. Boom, we sacrifice Steve. Steve is just a forest now. Oh, unless I control a swamp or a mountain. Sad robot. We have a mountain. That's crazy. We'll say we got a swamp. We'll say we got a swamp with this because we're not stupid. Alright, so turn 4, we have our first egg counter. We have Victimize. What the fuck? I mean, we got a lot of creatures. I guess we're assuming they get murdered. This would enter untapped. I will say, you are for sure gaslighting people with this deck, because the variance of how good some of your cards are is so hilariously large that I would assume, as somebody with bipolar disorder, I would assume you had bipolar disorder and you made one half of this deck in a manic phase and the other half in a depressive. Because I don't know what the fucking plan is with the Rekindling Phoenix, but it sure does exist. Like, you don't have a single goddamn token synergy in the whole deck, which is very real of you. And also, Rekindling Phoenix gotta just be here because you're like, owls are cool, man. I really fucking like owls. And I guess we have Sporefrog out just to say fuck you. We play Lelia. What do we exile? Henzi? Fuck. Well, we didn't play this guy then, so we play Henzi instead. We're going to pretend our mana's tapping correctly. Like, we have Henzi. We have Slimefoot and Squee in the deck? Okay. Okay. I get it. I get the picture. This is a child's Lego collection. This is not a commander deck. Oh yeah, you can't put egg counters on your own stuff, so Rekindling Phoenix is... Like, Rekindling Phoenix is a way to put an egg counter on something and then get it back. You also don't have any way to sacrifice your own stuff, and so the method of you being like, haha, I'm cheating, Rekindling Phoenix, back out, is like, someone's gonna have to kill a 4/3. And I don't know how down in the depths. Archpriest of fucking Shadows is in here? Okay. So here's... Here's what I'll give you in terms of... There is not too much... There's legitimately very little to criticize about this deck, because this deck is... honestly not even built to be a Zyra deck. It's just Zyra is cool. Look at all these guys and gals and creatures that I like that are in Zyra's colors, and I can respect that. And it is also a perfectly defensible position. I can't tell you what to like. I like Lelia. I like Inti. I think it's real that you're willing to discard and lose things to exile, but for the most part, it's like, Goldspan Dragon sure is a fucking Dragon King. And so if you do want suggestions on how to make it better, I would pick a detailed gimmick. Right now, your gimmick is very much, look at all these guys I like, look at how they punch you. There are some things in here that look like they could contribute to a commander damage game plan. Naeth could contribute to a commander damage game plan. Halana and Elena could contribute to a commander damage game plan. So could Death Creator's Champion. You could very easily go wide. That would be done with things like Amzu. You would probably want token doublers there. You could go for like Jund Control, which would actually utilize Wolfgar, because you would want to get as many counters out as possible, and then just have a ton. You would want Kill Your Things to be like 30 cards in the deck. If you want just, I'm gonna punch you a lot, and Zyra is going to passively give you value, then I would lean more into like Secret Commander Henzi, and Anger would definitely be good. Massacre Girl Known Killer would be good. Like, a lot of these cards work really well, except for things like Rekindling Phoenix, like this whole egg looping thing. Because if you want to go for I'm gonna beat you to death with all these creatures that aren't Zera, you want to use Zera to de-incentivize blocking by saying, if you block this, it's gonna die, and I'm gonna get a card. You know, I'm gonna like refill. And you want to do more things that support Pathbreaker Ibrex. Roxanne is bad no matter what synergy you pick. I hate to tell you this. I think Roxanne is very funny. She is also very bad. The only rationale for including her, other than boy howdy I think she's cool, which is a legitimate reason to include her, is you lean all the way into token doublers or token synergies and then just get extra meteors. Honestly, kind of same goes for spitting Dilophosaurus. I think that making things unable to block, is like bad for you. You would rather put an egg counter on it and then go, bet, bitch, block me. So if you do want to lean into like, my commander is actually Henzi and these are all of Henzi's pals, I would say Spitting goes, Roxanne goes, Grime Gorger goes, Decadent Dragon probably goes, Moloch can stay in that case. Hirobi goes. Jaxus is probably fine. I think Deathrite Shaman probably goes no matter what. This is Birds of Paradise's shitty cousin, unless you have a Reanimator player that you need to hate out of your playgroup. If you need to do that, hell yeah, more power to you. But I would drop all those and I would just pick more things that either buff your board or are better removal or are I think you have enough recursion actually for like Henzi's Secret Commander. But generally that's what I do. Is right now you do not have a gimmick beyond I think all these things are really cool. Legitimate gimmick, if you want to make the deck stronger, pick the like 3 coolest things you have. Like pick the 3 coolest things you think this deck was, or the 1 coolest thing you think this deck does, and be like, that's what I'm going to focus on. And then cut the shit that doesn't help that gimmick and put in some shit that does help that gimmick. You can look at Henzi lists. You can look at ways to give your creatures double strike. You can look at extra combat spells. Yeah, because right now there's sort of like there's too many ways you can go to improve it. But it is cute. I do like that you avoided the normie shit that is just, oh, I make 1/1s, I'm gonna make Doubling Season, I'm gonna take like Anthem effects, yada 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 yada. The fogs are also funny. These seem like trauma responses to me. Obscuring Haze and Spore Frog definitely seem like I've been hurt bad. Honestly, probably the best recursion you could ask for is going to be Marin. So like much better. Oh, you have a flyer. So where's that one? There's one creature in here that is... Oh, you have Marin. I'm smoking crack. Yeah. You already have Marin. Good job. Good fucking job. I'm not sold on Slimefoot and Squee because you have no other ways to make Saprolings. And so if the Saproling Slimefoot and Squee makes ever dies, Slimefoot and Squee is fully useless. He fully sits there with his little mushroom dick in his hands. Underworld Sentinel is funny. Keep this at any cost. Very funny removal method. Oh yeah, Henzi's not gonna give you meaningful discounting. He can still give you... No, it's each time you cast your commander. So it's not Henzi himself. You would need to recur him to have him be the secret commander, but you get the discount for however many times you've cast whoever your commander is. So if Zyra draws a lot of fire, Henzi still works fine. All right, we're going to move on to Bacon's deck, which is silly and spooky. I am a diehard Izzet/Grixis player and love nothing more than watching opponents fear my hand. Okay, so you want like a geisha fan that you just wave in front of yourself and be like, what could be in here? You do want improvements. In one word, very specifically, in one word, this deck is play half your deck in one turn, then either railgun the entire table or beat them to death with magical PhD students. That is a long ass word. Spell Slinger Showdown. The more things I do in a turn, the happier I am. Yes, I can read. Yes, I read fast. No, you won't like it, but I used a counterspell to get it. The deck isn't great, but it's under testing. $178, 35 lands, real of you. Let's get tags on in case they're there. Perfect. Okay, so it's bad prowess. That's Adeliz the Cinderwind is my play group is not emotionally ready for me to play a prowess commander, and so I play Adeliz. That's so generous of you. Okay, so you give some draw until you have the city's blessing, which I'm presuming happens pretty soon. It's better prowess since it buffs all wizards. I'm weak, you see. Can you explain to me why that is better than giving your creatures prowess? Because I'm thinking of Jeskai Narset. That's creatures you control have prowess. Or I think it's Balmor. Or just giving it to all creatures and giving them trample. They don't get the big butt, but in terms of like, I'm going to kill you, Balmor has been around for a bit and is highly effective at it. Okay, copy. A Deadly Beast Killer. I am streaming on Twitch as well. Complete the circuit. You can cast as though they had flash. You can convoke. So you better be making some fucking tokens in here. Copy that spell twice. Next spell has Storm. Copy that spell. Storm. Cast the copy. Okay. That's risky. Copy it. Okay. This I would accept as you're trying to get the flash effect. So we're trying to storm off. It's free kind of. Okay, 3 mana cast anything. Pick and cast. I love you for having Apex of Power. Honestly, if you're gonna have Apex of Power, you need to have Dance with Calamity. I don't care what the fuck the deck is about. But if you're gonna gamble, you gotta gamble with Dance with Calamity. This is just blackjack, but it stops at 13. Embrace the Unknown. Demand answers. Electrolyze. We gotta do better than this. I know. Listen, under 200 in Commander is some kind of budget. We got to do better than this. Even Slick Sequence in the kind of deck we're hoping to be, like, you should have cast another spell before you're about to drop fucking 3 mana, 2 damage. Beacon Bolt is good. Counterflux is fine. Cyclonic, yeah, okay, it's Cyclonic Rift, whatever. Aminati's Augury, 8 mana, 7 mana, 5 mana, 8 mana, 6 mana. So do these people let you play with Omniscience on the board? What is this curve? This is a no one drops. Why are you showing me a green player Izzet deck? This is the most pie in the sky mana aspirational deck I have seen in my whole life. No Soul Ring. No Soul Ring. Where's High Tide? No high tide. So do you guys have a rule where you spend the first 3 turns just like checking in on how everyone's day was? Because that is the only thing. That is the only thing I can imagine for this. We have in the Wizards, in the Punchy Storm deck, we have no cantrips. We have no 1-drops. We have a responsible amount of lands, and literally nothing else is responsible. Everything else is just like, I'll get there. Apex of Power, I'll get there. Harmonic Prodigy's good. Veyron's good for it. This is... You are living on a prayer, and whatever spell you want to cast, I am convinced you're only going to get halfway there. We cannot fucking be on compulsion for our card draw in our Storm deck. We are a Storm list. We don't want to be activating abilities to draw our cards. We desperately want to be, like, you want to be opting. Okay. You want to be pondering your orbs. We have 29 creatures, 28 wizards. Okay, that's good. I don't think we have Goblin Electromancer. Bolt? No, Bolt. We don't have any fucking 1-drops. This deck was invented in a world with no 0 and no 1. Okay, we do have Electromancer. Kaza is good. Kaza is probably... I am terrified of the world in which you don't draw Kaza. Alright. So we have 6 cards. We have 6 cards that are reasonable discounters in this deck. You are either God's chosen Izzet mage, or we are putting your ass back in school to relearn basic accounting. No mulligans, because that's how we roll. 2 lands, and I shoot my own dick off. Okay, we get Monastery Siege. So we get to draw an additional card, and then we discard. Fuck Revolutionist. Next turn, draw an additional card. Look at that. Fuck Snapcaster Mage. We're not drawing any goddamn spells. Holy God. I mean, so the deck that you want to have has Stella Lee in it, but we are so far away from that deck. Can I introduce you to a little thing called being able to cast your fucking spells, buddy? Like, when you go out to dinner, are you like one of those psychos that doesn't check for your wallet? You're just like, I'll have it. If they ask me for the money, I'll just have it. Like, you need a talisman, you need an Izzet signet, you need fucking moment of truth. You're a goddamn Izzet player. We need to look at some of these cards. Honestly, even Mind Stone. No, we still don't need Soul Ring. We still do not need Soul Ring. We do want Third Path. Oh, wait, no, this doesn't make wizards. So I don't think, yeah, this makes soldiers. So we don't care about Third Path Iconoclast. But, like... oh, there is a consider section. Okay. You can almost justify Bitterthorn, because holy fuck, do you need basic lands. I would say Lantern of Revealing, probably not. Surveyor's Scope, probably not. Sword of the Animist, I would say, is reasonable because you do intend to swing and you intend to be pretty low to the ground. Do you have any good ETBs to utilize? Damn, you even have Jori N, and you have no fucking world in which you're going to cast 2 spells in a turn. I would say you probably... Why do we have a Thespian stage? What in tarnation? Yeah, I mean, we gotta cut... I would start with cutting some of these very very optimistic cards. Like Magus of the Future, I would say is probably not good enough. Like you'd rather, like Magus of the Future is just worse Johann, and so you'd probably just keep Johann. I don't think any of your individual spells are like most of the 4 to 6 needs to go. Like we've got 13, 18. So we've got 18 permanents that are just way too fucking expensive. Niamh Glizzy's real good. Kindred Discovery, I am inclined to accept just because you are going like pretty much all wizards. Arcanus the Omnipotent is hopeful. If Paradoxical Outcome is in here as draw and not as protection, I gotta calmly request that you put the crack pipe down and back away slowly. I would also cut Najal. I would cut Elite Arcanist. I would cut Crackling Spellslinger, and I would cut Complete the Circuit. Crackling Spellslinger, you can argue, like, is wizard. But based on the 2 run-throughs we did, I find it unlikely that you are going to get the cost reduction necessary to actually storm off unless you have, unless God is looking down at you. Like, we already have... You're already discarding to hand size because we're just not finding lands early. I'll discard another thing that is too expensive for you to ever hope to cast it. We will probably shock this in just to get our commander out. And now you're in a situation where, like, you have Snapcaster Mage. The only thing worth Snapcaster Maging is Demand Answers. And then you probably dump Finale of Promise to draw 2. And then we just go to our next turn. And we fucking get stuck on lands again. And we would play Balmor and then pass. So, like, we're turn 8. Nothing meaningful has happened. You have a couple really strong situations. You have a couple very strong situations that require a lot of very specific setup. Like you're not playing a bunch of cards that are generically high quality. You're playing a bunch of cards that are meant to work particularly well together. And when you have a deck like that, you need more ways to see more cards so that you can play, so that you have access to the right one. I'm not sold on any of these. I was just looking at them. Gertspaz12, thank you for the 6 months in a row at tier 1. Welcome back to the dog home, my friend. Phantom Breaker, thank you for the prime sub. And Legendary Deuce, thank you for the 18 months in a row at tier 1. A year and a half we've been together. I appreciate your generosity very much. Welcome back to the dog home. So, like, real quick, just on Scryfall, let's just look at some wizards and see what other, see what other creatures we could get up in here. We probably want less than or equal to 4. We want some low wizards. I would consider Lore Master just to help fix your draw problem. You don't really need to tap. Emeritus should be in here as one of your more expensive wizards. Honestly, at where your deck is right now, Axiom Engraver is playable if you want to keep it like goofy wizards. Azure Mage would even be playable for you. You do not have the counterspells to support that, and that's real as hell of you. You should very much be playing Windfall. I would also highly recommend for card draw things like someone else recommended Docent of Perfection. Yeah, that is honestly, this is a good way to like actually win the game. Like Najal is a way to potentially do stuff. Riona is a way to potentially do stuff. I do not think you're in a position where you're going to be storming off very reasonably. I would recommend this, because then you can get if you're not ready to swing out, you can at least get a little bit more mana. But right now, like this deck was created in a world where you had God mode on, and you're just able to do whatever we want, or like you mana drain, a fucking Eldrazi. Right? Like you just get lucky as hell. Of course I spelled it wrong right at the end. Honestly, even this would be fine for you as a 3-drop, but you need more. You have, let's see, 7, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 22, 26. You have 26 cards that are meant to bring you to either win you the game or tee you up to win the game. You are allowed to have 10. So I want you to go through everything that is 5 mana or more, and we are giving away all of your toys to charity, and you are going down to the 10 that you like the most, and everything else, the 16 cards that you cut, those are going to be between 1 and 3 mana, and they are going to draw you a card, make you mana, or make your shit cost less. And then this deck is going to be a lovely fucking time. It will probably cement it into spooky, but right now Right now, the only reason this deck is silly is because you are at the spooky store running towards checkout, your arms absolutely overflowing with horrifying things, and your credit card is declining every fucking time. As I'm Weak UC pointed out, one of the 5 mana cards you can put back in, or you can put in, is Mana Geyser. This is always a really fucking funny way to get to like a real big Izzet turn. But yeah, like you have a lot of very fun cards, and you just have too many. You just have too many really fun cards. And I would trim it down a little. I think Baral's Expertise is one of the worst ones. I think Arcane Endeavor is also one of the worst ones. So like Arcane Endeavor, if you want the deck to be sillier, keep this. If you want it to be spookier, cut this. If you want it to be sillier, cut Creative Technique, cut Finale of Promise, cut Omniscience. If you want it to be spookier, cut Arcane Endeavor, cut Baral's Expertise, cut Izzet Chemister. Like the idea that your table is going to leave this guy alive to exile a bunch of shit and then let you cast it is hopeful. We're going to move on to Grath, who has submitted a spooky deck. This deck exists to prevent people from cheating. Cheating is defined as playing anything that isn't a creature. Oh my god, it's Gruul Stax. This deck is the most challenging deck I have to play because it essentially turns the game into Judge's Tower, except the game doesn't end when someone messes up the rules. We just have to awkwardly rewind or ignore the illegal play. In one word, the deck is can't. Oh my god, it's Gaddock Teague. $51 creatures. You know you can play 3-drops, right, man? 38 lands. Hateful. You have hexproof. Interesting. Fair, like fair-ish stacks. You're being mean, but not that mean. Slow the game down. 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 Ramp. Slow the game down. Wait. Recursion to presumably slow the game down. Counter spells in white. Oh my god, Danny's here. Got it. We're down at molasses speed right now. Lot of can't. Can't was really a very accurate word for this deck. Nevermore. That's the most uniquely hateful one I've seen. So, here's my thing, right? Here's my thing. If you didn't want to play Magic and you just wanted to hang out, you can just say that. You can have people over for a barbecue. You can always be like, "Hey, do you guys just want to play Call of Duty?" You can call somebody and be like, "Hey, I feel like you haven't let me in lately. I would like to just talk about that for a little bit." Not this. Not this where you're making people read 18 different paragraphs over why they're not allowed to engage in the fun group activity. It's like if you invited everyone over for dodgeball and had them sign a bunch of waivers about how they weren't going to throw balls or run near you. Goddamn airport security deck. Yeah, Satoru, it's like, yes, this is I'm gonna miss my flight because airport security is here. This is the snail that is constantly crawling towards you and is going to kill you if it touches you. Although I'm not even convinced it can touch you. Crazy Moose, thank you for the $2 super chat. Did someone let a snail into the Grand Prix? Yeah, but it's a snail with a fucking gun. This deck is not spooky. This deck is This deck is aggravating. Manatite, Krosan Grip, Torpor Orb. Okay, so we shut the game down immediately. Nobody's playing Magic anymore. My top card's revealed. Whatever, this is a dual land. That's revealed. Play that tapped. Play that. I guess fuck you, I'll blow up somebody's land. Oh, we would have drawn this and that would have been on top. Further establish our lock. So we'll play that Plains off the top, play that Forest off the top. I think now we have Void Winnower. So turn 5, our big thing is an 11-9. This has to be a trauma response. This has to be a trauma response to somebody that has seen a Stax deck and is trying to take their power back by playing Stax. Because we got to do better than this. No, you don't shut off Void Winnower because Gaddock Teeg only cares about non-creature spells. Like, Gaddock Teeg is only there to make sure that people are playing creatures. And, like, this is the cycle of abuse personified. Yeah, Crazy Moose, it really is, because the thing that makes sense about Stax decks to me is people need to learn how to play by some goddamn rules. $1,500, we're spending $1,500 instead of just buying some goddamn brisket. What are we talking about? I've saved you $1,200. Are you watching, Grath? I hope you're I've saved you $1,151. Just have them up, maybe $50 for bratwurst. You're fixed. You're totally fixed. Like, because I respect a good Stax deck. At CEDH level, I'm generally a Stax player. And the thing that makes Stax good and interesting is the ability to win out from under your own stacks. Not your ability to stop the game. Anybody can buy a bike lock. Anybody can. Putting a bike lock on the game is funny once. I think putting a bike lock on the game is funny one time, and specifically when your playgroup is at that arc of personality where everyone's starting to use really crazy shit, but nobody has realized that interaction is good and necessary. And then one time you're just like, hey everybody, what if you all shut the fuck up and died to a 2-1 flyer? One time, that's funny. But the rest of the time, this deck is just like next turn. So I'm gonna turn 2. I'm gonna Draneth Magistrate you. And then the turn after that, Spirit of the Labyrinth. See, like, that's funny every time you say, not the person who submitted the deck, Return of Jack. I don't think it's, like, for me, I don't think it's funny unless you play with, like, fucking Yosemite Sam cartoon people. Because to me, what's funny to me about shooting other people's kneecaps off is relishing in their disdain, right? It's like, it's relishing in... You have stymied them. You have stopped them from achieving the thing you want to do, and you have stolen their happiness from them. This deck is just like, we're all going to sit here and land pass. Like, there's no... And that's why I say one time it's funny. Because once you get to see everybody be like, holy shit, what do you mean all I can do for turn is scratch my nuts and wash my hands? But then after that, because this deck doesn't have... This deck doesn't have anything proactive that it wants to do. I just can't, like... This is the deck you put on when you have a movie you've been begging everyone to watch and they won't give it a chance, and so you bust this out, and then halfway through you're like, we could watch Failure to Launch, you guys. We could watch this Matthew McConaughey, Sarah Jessica Parker picture. I think they have a pretty good dynamic, you guys. And so I would say for changes, you need to have like, it would be like, this is like if you showed up to play pickup basketball and you just chucked the basketball over the fence every time you got it. Like, every time somebody passed you the rock, you just overhead grandma toss it over the fence, and then you make somebody else go get it. The first time you can pull the didn't see that coming, LOL, I'm so random. But like the 5th time, the 10th time, like, who is playing basketball with you? Because the thing is, you can be this hateful while still having a proactive deck. You can be this hateful and you can be very heavy into stacks and have a deck that is still like engaging and trying to do something and creates some type of tension. But this deck is just like, I'm gonna eliminate the dramatic tension from the game. Like, this is peak. This is not a deck, it is a null field. And so, like, the things that can stay... Things that can stay are probably like Dragon Lord Dramoka. If you are at a high power table. If you are at a low power table, you have no business playing stacks, period. Because at a low power table, Rule 0 is already a stacks player. So if this is at a table with other spooky decks or other silly decks, you have no goddamn reason to play this deck. This is only worth playing. It only adds anything to the table's experience if you're playing against a scary deck. That said, like, Avacyn is smoking crack. Archon is probably smoking crack. A Valor's Reach. Tithes is probably okay, just as like an overrun effect. Arbiter is smoking crack. Jubilation. No, not paying life is legitimate. That's a good one. Acidic Slime is smoking crack. Eidolon of Obstruction is, as much as I hate Planeswalkers, this is a deep cut. Gisela the Broken Blade is, like, straight up, you can just have better cards. We can just have better cards. Miri, Weatherlight Duelist is probably smoking crack. Like, you have 50 creatures, you can probably cut 20. And you don't need to replace them with non-creatures. You just need to replace them with creatures that actually want to do a thing other than put a bike lock on the Ben and Jerry's. Because, like, putting a bike lock, it's sort of like this deck is one of those YouTube prank videos, except when you're playing Commander, you actually have to stick around for the end where people aren't doing the funny freak out reaction face and they're just like, why'd you do this? Hello, Joka. Because you have a good Gaddock Teague Stax deck in here, and then you have probably 20 to 25 cards that are just from the EDHREC.com Stax theme and are just also hanging out in here. And they do not all need to be here. Whether you want to be in... whether you want to use this to protect a go wide strategy, because 4 or greater is typically when almost all of the board wipes start coming online. Like, I think Languish doesn't get under it. Toxic Deluge gets under it. Brotherhood's End gets under it. But most of the hard board wipes get cut off by Gaddock Teague. So if you want to have some creatures that support go wide, that would probably be good. But you are allowing your deck to be defined by the activities of others. And I inherently disagree with that. Having a lot of stacks, you can define yourself strongly as, I am the person making you play by some rules. But when we're this far gone, it becomes my only concern is what other people do, and that is inherently not alpha and not molding. So I would just like pick a gimmick that is helped by other people not being able to board wipe. Because that's the most consistent thing that Gaddock Teague will do, is say other people can't board wipe. And then cut 40% of these creatures. And you can still be like, oops, all creatures, and you can still have a ton of stacks in here. But it's just hate. It's $1,500 that could have been spent on therapy and a charbroil grill to ask your friends how they were doing. All right, we're gonna move on to Exemplar, who has a spooky deck. What even is a board state? The only thing this deck cares about is setting your life total to 0 and doing it as quickly and viciously as possible. I will sack mountains to recast that flame jab for 10 every single time, and your words will not deter me, John. I have made this deck to follow the ABCs as taught to me by the magnificent Maulhound and Yugi. Willing, you will not live to see another turn. I'm not a degenerate, so there are tags. This is secretly a red graveyard deck, and the amount of times people have passed up on Bojuka bogging me while I sit there with the Past in Flames in hand has convinced me that crack can be felt as an emotion. That is a tremendous primer. Stake.com sponsored Housefire. I like burn. I have one goal. It's to make your life total become 0 before your commander hits the field. Playing this deck feels like directly snorting dopamine in powdered form as you gamble for cards with wheels and impulse draws, but it's somehow extremely efficient at reducing life totals to nothing. I'm going to guess that the plot twist is it plays Imidane. The local Ur-Dragon and Eldrazi players have told me they hate playing it as they're dead before they get to play the game. My response, deserved, good. GG, just run more interaction in your high-powered deck because fuck it, we balls. The grind set and mindset I'm on when I play this. Every single spell in this deck is boosted to 4 damage minimum, 7 typically, 10 on a good day, tags on. Okay, so it's Ocher, Ashonil, Respect. Let's get some tags. Cuttable. Yeah, get these right the fuck out. No need. Desperate attempt to fix my horrendous land base. Honestly, monocolor O'Hare might be one of your most expensive things. 33 you could just get by, provided you have enough draws. Hellkite 3008, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the doghouse. Ruby's good. Ritual's good. Jessica's Will's good. Morning Boost Juice. That's a good tag name. Downhill Charge is tremendous. My first question would be, why are these not an equipment? Sawblade Scamp is fucked up. Bergie's good. Magmatic Channeler is good. March is good if you're shitting mana. Ren's Resolve good. In the absence of good draw, this is now a red graveyard deck. Yeah. Loot everything. Urabrask makes sense. Valakut Exploration makes sense. Mana Rock or something. Okay. I take immediate issue with Volcanic Fallout because your commander will kill itself, and so if you draw this at any point prior to being able to win the game, all of your buffs as well buff power more than toughness. Too expensive. Talk to me. Talk to me about too expensive. Oh, Ashenal doesn't hit. Oh, only 2 opponents. Okay, never mind. Volcanic Fallout makes sense. Skullcrack, I'd say just for damage prevention. Grape Shot, sure. Forked Bolt, sure. This Chandra is pretty hot. Blasphemous Act is also... I mean, Blasphemous Act, simply good board wipe. Play with Fire instead of Shock. It's just better. Oh, yeah. Play with Fire is just better Shock. Kessig Flame Breather makes sense. Runaway Steam Kid makes sense. Sulfuric Vortex is great. Voldaren Epicure makes sense. Firebrand Archer. Where is whenever you cast instant, and then we'll say damage each opponent, and we'll look for just the very best ones. I mean, this is good. This is some good hateful shit. This is what O'Hara Shono wants to be on. He's very narrow. You're obviously mad. Yeah, Lava Dart's funny as fuck. Agatha's Soul Cauldron's interesting. Oh, you do have Black Blade, so that is a very good equipment to have. Braid of Fire does make sense since you have a lot of instants. Neheb the Eternal makes sense. Bolt Bend's funny. Display of Power, Dual Caster Mage, Pyroblast, Reverberate. Watch me deck myself in a single turn. So the curve is very low. Yeah, the curve is very low. I recommended this to... Really, I would recommend this to any burn deck. I think any burn deck can at least think about Dance with Calamity as a funny card. And then... I feel like Fiery Inscription could be replaced by Electrostatic Field or Erebor Flamesmith. Simply because if... Simply because if you don't have O'Hara Ashenel out, Fiery Inscription probably isn't winning you the game anyway. But like right here, so maybe let's look at it in terms of 1-drops. Okay, so here's our low shit. I guess these are low enough that it does make sense. Mana Barbs would be pretty fucking funny. Oh, you don't want... So you think it's Stax. Okay. So no Zozi or Mana Barbs. So let's see what we draw. Once again, without 1-drops. But we'd Mountain, we'd Medallion. We'd probably Cultist. And then we'd... So now turn 5, can we just kill everybody? Because we have a cost reducer, and when we cast non-creatures, we buff our boy. So this would cost 1. Would buff this to 6. We'd hit 2 people for 6. We would, I guess, Wheel of Fortune. Go to 9. Fuck this hand. And we're going to hope we get a land. So we do 9 damage with our commander right now. And then we probably Lightning Bolt somebody for 9. Then next turn... I would honestly probably play this, and then O'Hare might die, so let's pretend we had to recast him. I mean, it's a good mugging. Like, you certainly have a deck that works, and honestly, I have also been radicalized by these like pseudo high power players who think their deck is high power when in reality they just have those like, okay, we're all going to be really nice to each other for 5 turns before we do anything. Like, you are doing the Lord's work punishing the damn dirty rampers. I don't think the deck has problems. I think there are ways to make the deck better. But that really depends on if you want the deck to go from spooky to scary. Like, I don't think this deck has to change. But if you did want to change it, it would probably be by putting in the shitty fast mana. By putting in maybe not Bonesaw, but I think at least one other equipment, because like I typically don't like these 1 mana buffers, only because if you ever get them without a board wide damage instance, they just kind of womp womp. And like, that feels very bad to me. Like, this hand, let's see, we'll DRC. We'll Soul Cauldron, so we will Surveil. We'll put that in the grave because we don't need it. I mean, fucking like... And then we just pass. Okay, we have O'Hare out. And now, turn 5, Infuriate will feel good because we have Kumano, so we can hit everybody for 7. Add a bunch of red, exile 3. Oh, so we would want to order that properly so that we can double cast, I guess, Infuriate. Yeah, we'd probably Jessica's Will first, and then double cast Infuriate. So get it to 10. Hit everyone for 10. And then just cast these for value. Oh, you do probably want Arch of Erazka. There's no reason to not maybe draw a card one. I don't think you're so red pip heavy. Oh, that's Mr. Sunlight. Thank you. That is the equipment you need. You need the Sword of Wop. This is unquestionably a worthwhile equipment. I don't care what you cut for this. I'm not convinced. Like, I think you could cut anything from the deck and put Sword of Wealth and Power in instead, and you would feel real fucking good anytime you drew Sword of Wealth and Power. Because doing the playtestings, like the amount of turns it's taking you to get to lethal, equipment is not too slow for the deck. Equipment might feel too slow. That is a lie. Equipment is not too slow for the things you are doing. We really don't want to discard this shit, so we do Bergie. Bah. I think if we... No, then we just play our guy. God, we play that, and I guess land for turn. And now all of this feels really bad, so we might just have to like set up shop and wait, because we don't want to wheel away. Yeah, we'd probably end up having to wheel that hand. Pika Puff, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. 6 months in a row. Welcome back to the dog home, my friend. Besides Simic, what's my next least favorite guild? Selesnya. Selesnya for sure. I don't know about Embercleave, puns for days. This is, oh no, you super don't want Embercleave. I do think Thundering Raiju is too slow. It's too slow and it probably dies in like 1 turn. You need to make it more consistent. If you need to make it more consistent, you always fix that through drawing cards. And so I would take, let's see. You certainly do not have every version of these draw effects. So I would look for Faithless Looting. I think like there's Demand Answers, Thrill of Possibility. In all situations, if you think like, oh, my deck is not being consistent enough, your answer is typically to touch more cards, unless the inconsistency is due to mana issues, which I don't necessarily think it is. Covert Go Blue, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse. Change of Fortune. Do we need Change of Fortune in here? Do not do this. Do not. Bean, shut the fuck up. Don't tell people that. What about Bone Splitter? Yeah, like, I think Bone Splitter would be better than one of these. I think you could drop probably Blazing Crescendo for Bone Splitter, and you'd feel better. Otherwise, let's see. Like, Fire Inscription doesn't have to be here. Voldaren Epicure could also go for draw, because this is just a one-off effect that you can't recur. Yeah, like you have recursion for your instance and sorcery based one-offs. You definitely don't have creature based recursion. Neheb the Eternal's in here. Chandra Torch of Defiance is good. Braid of Fire, you could even... Agatha's Soul Cauldron, I would also... Agatha's Soul Cauldron I would drop for more card draw. Kumano faces Kakazan, I would also drop for card draw. Oh, Connecting the Dots. Yeah, would that be good? No, we're not attacking enough. We're basically never swinging. I doubt we're ever swinging our creatures. Crazy Moose, thank you for the $5 super chat. Mauled, what would you say if tomorrow Red got a card like Boiling Seas called Burn the Wild, so you could once and for all tell the Lorax to fuck off? If they gave us a red card that said destroy all forests, I would be over the moon. I would never play anything but Izzet for the rest of my days. And I would spend all my time playing Izzet, hoping to draw that card, and I would deforest everything. Exemplar Invictus, let me put it to you this way. The most responsible graveyard hate you can have is killing a person faster with slightly better draw. I think Chandra's Pyro Helix could also be draw. Same goes for Shock. Like anything that doesn't hit all your opponents can be cut for draw to grab the things that do hit all your opponents. That's how I would frame it. Like whatever you have that shoots only one thing in the face can be cut for things that let you draw the cards that let you shoot multiple things in the face. Light up the stage would be good. I think we have embraced the unknown. Wild Wasteland could also be playable for you. So there's a lot of things you could do. Definitely add draw. Focus on keeping your everyone pingers over your individual pingers. We do need to move on to Bacon's deck, which is spooky / scary. My pod rags on me for playing 2 strong black and white life gain decks. I can't help but make a bunch of tokens and just so happen to gain a bunch of life. I know you can't help it because it's as easy as breathing or shitting yourself if you're 90. Oh, Teysa Karlov. Oh yeah, I would need. It's not even that they're too strong. It's that they can be too strong by accident. You can fall ass backwards into a Teysa Karlov deck that is too good. Like we're playing the worst version. We're playing the worst version of all of these planeswalkers, and I'm sure you're still shitting on everybody. Ayo, who cares? What's it do? Does it put out a little shitter? Oh wow, you're cheating something out? Good for you. How the fuck are you getting away with this? Aetherios. Oh, God of Passage and Shroud Veiled. Baron makes sense. Burnished Heart is like, sure, you're playing Magic the Gathering. Body Snatcher is Recursion. You're all suggesting adds and cuts like I'm going to help this person. That's your first mistake. The only help we're giving them is I will recommend them a therapist. That's all. Okay, so now we're starting to make these tokens. This deck needs to meet the burn deck that we just looked at. This deck looks like it plays so fucking slow. No wonder it looks unstoppable. If you're letting the Orzhov player scheme for 5 turns in a row. We have like 3 reliable token makers. We have Ghoul Caller Gisa. Darien, and even that, you just need to have your table like work together for 2 seconds. Blot out the sky. Army of the Damned. Deploy to the front. Amaria's Call. Storm Herd. Grand Crescendo. Okay, so we're getting them all in non-creature ways. Oh, and then Myriad. Okay. And that gets us sack stuff too. If this ain't a goddamn look at how cool my Legos are deck, I don't know. I don't know what is. Because there's so much stuff where it's like, oh yeah, this is broken. Why did nobody punch you in the... Why did nobody kick you in the teeth in the first 10 turns of this game? If you're getting to do this. What are we, reassembling skeleton into a sword? Into Tesa. We'd probably equip and try to swing. Then we'll say we get a basic. Who cares what ETB'd? We would kick Skyclave Relic. And then we need, what do we need, 10 total? Which I think no, we're still 1 shy of 10. We need something to die. Turn 6, maybe there's a green player. So maybe there's a green player and we Pitiless Plunderer. Turn 7, we kick this. We now have 8 2/2s with Vigilance, Lifelink, and Menace. Okay, I must have missed something. I must have missed the part where the deck is too strong. Nope, I'm still missing it. Sorry, we discarded that to hands. Oh, I'm still missing it. Okay, 4 mana. Okay, turn 6, we've played our commander. We play this guy. And then turn 8, our big move is we get 2 of our planeswalkers out. Sure, that's a planeswalker. That's a planeswalker. So I mean, there are 2 options here. Either this person beats up children, or they play against a pod that desperately needs to learn that removal is a good thing. Like, Magic the Gathering cards are not balanced around the idea that you're going to play them and they're going to be left alone. Like, Teysa Karlov is a kill-on-sight commander. That is just how it is. But this is the goddamn Orzhov cheese wheel. This is not a curve. This is a pyramid of Giza. Blue Trinket, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. This is just like, damn, my table really... I play against blind people. And they're fucking... And they don't tap the cane on my side of the board until it's too late. You do have plenty of good cards in here. But you have like so many... You have so many like 4 to 7 mana cards that are all individually good. In no world should you be able to get away with running all of them and still have your fucking kidneys intact after. Like, who's letting you do this? My brother in Christ. I want to play against these people. My Spellslinger deck is fucking unbeatable. If I just get to hang out until I have 6 lands out. These people aren't playing Magic, they're playing Terraria. Or Stardew Valley. Everybody gets a little plot. And then after a year, we meet up and we slam our plots together and we see who wins. It's a Minecraft pod. Yeah, like, I do relish the thought of some like green stompy player coming out of hibernation after spending 6 turns trying to ramp into a 12/12 and then learning that other decks can in fact be more problematic if you let them do whatever they want for half an hour. But this deck looks like it, or your table has the freest mulligans ever. Because we're doing honest deck testing, which means we do not take mulligan, or do not take multiple mulligans. And in the honest deck testing, this deck does a whole lot of hanging out. Best case scenario, we would probably play Aetherios before Teysa to protect her. Because if we play Teysa and nobody shoots her in the face, you deserve to win. If nobody in your pod is thought to bring removal and they have not been kicking you squarely in the chest for the previous 4 turns, we gotta, like, your pod needs to stay in school at that point. I don't know what else to tell you. As far as upgrades, I would probably get some better. You got to cut some of the really expensive shit for less expensive shit that's going to smooth out your curve or give you card draw. So like Caged Sun, that is a Minecraft card. Caged Sun is a Minecraft card if I ever saw one. Gauntlet of Power, creative mode ass card. Even Replicating Ring for your deck if you don't have Proliferate. Same goes for Treasure Map. There's just like broadly good Talisman of whatever. Whatever Signet. Orzhov Signet. You probably want... Actually, I don't know if you want Disciple of Bolas because you don't have anything that has super high power. I think this guy, to get another way of making sure you are getting death triggers. Because you have a lot of cards where it seems like the way your method of getting their death trigger is to hope. Call the Coppercoats could do it. I don't think Burnished Heart goes off with Teysa. Like, sacrificing as a cost is not an ability triggering because it died. I don't believe. Somebody could correct me. Somebody can correct me if that is incorrect, but I don't believe things that you sacrifice as a cost let you double. It does not. Yeah, so I would probably drop Burnished Heart. We're posting about lifelink in your peer video. Yes, what about it? Oh yeah, you know, this would be a totally reasonable, like, expensive it's expensive card that will synergize pretty well with what the deck wants to do. I don't think they have enough token generation for Mirkwood Bats to work. Like, they're honestly kind of light on it. We have Pitiless Plunderer. Morbid Opportunist would be good. But I think the number one thing that needs to be changed to make this deck, like, quote unquote better, more than all these individual cards chat is suggesting, is tapering this curve down to either get Teysa out more aggressively or guarantee that you can actually cast all of these. Like, you have so many just massive hitters, and your only plan to get to these massive hitters is like hope and prayers. Like, turn one, we have one thing that's playable early, and the rest, like, we can't even play, or we'd have the altar out. Land, we get this thing, but we're not gaining any life. Like, with Inventor's Fair, we finally get to Teysa. So now we have 5 tokens. So we have 5 1/1s with lifelink. If we make it to our next turn, we can swing. We'd have to try to swing them, like, one at a time. We'd play this guy. Yeah, like, we're slow rolling everything very, very much. So I would take your least favorite very expensive card. Like, you're playing as if your daddy is giving you a small loan of $1 million at the beginning of every Commander game. The thing is, they do have Thalisse, but Thalisse only goes off with most of these, like, sorceries. From here, we are going to move on to Sverti's deck, which is... Oh, did I swear to God I recognize this name. Hold on. We have done this deck already, so we're going to move on to Blar's deck, which is allegedly silly. The primer says Optimus Prime. The deck in one word is I'm doing 3 things at once, which is how I already know you are not successfully doing 3 things at once. The deck's goal is to do Bolster, Proliferate, and Planeswalker Assistance, with Commander play being flipped version while casted. I'm going to... Is there a primer? No. Do we have tags? Okay. So we're flipping it. Whenever you attack Bolster 2, chosen creature gains trample. When they deal combat damage, convert. Which is beginning of each end step, Bolster 1. So draw. I would say Dusk Legion counts, because your commands it. Well, 6 mana. 6 mana for Dusk Legion to be draw. Other people need to do... who am I fucking kidding? People are letting you get away with it. Augury, Clock, Remora. I mean, this is just Rhystic Study. Immediately not silly. Well, actually, I'll take that back. I have said previously you can have really high-powered cards in low-powered decks if the gimmick you're trying to do is so bad that it needs that much support. Okay, God, what the fuck? Funny combo with Prime. But is that a fucking... What's the funny... What in God's name is the funny combo? Because this looks like I sacrifice my commander for 1 damage. They come back as a vehicle. And then maybe I convert them. But converting flips, right? I don't think converting is an ETB. Oh, what the fuck is this interaction? This deck is so not silly. This is the least silly. I think this is just a bad. This is just a bad Jeskai C EDH list at this point. This is I took a Jeskai C EDH list that was good, and I put Optimus Prime in front of it. So I do not think the funny combo works the way we think the funny combo works. Constable of the Realm, that is a legitimately, you know, good synergy with Optimus Prime. Can you bolster something you don't control? No. But you can just continue to bolster this thing to keep moving, to keep grafting stuff. So that's another good smart one. So we have a ton of proliferation for 8 planeswalkers. We have 18. What the fuck are we doing with 18 creatures? This deck is having a personality crisis, and they all need therapy. Okay, Techathal is crazy optimistic with only 9 sources of proliferation. Three of which are not repeatable. So you have 6. Wait, do you have 6 or do you have 5? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 repeatable sources of proliferation in the whole deck. And we're putting, if I would proliferate twice instead. This is like saying if I walk down the street and my gym crush gives me a blowjob, they'll give me a blowjob twice instead. That is what you are pinning your fucking hopes on with Techathal. Then we have Authority, Dovin. Why the fuck is Draneth Magistrate in the deck? You're supposed to be a hero. If you're drawing, filtering a lot, 5 is okay. You are not drawing and filtering a lot, though. Like, we have Midnight Clock, which is not card draw until we get the 7th counter on. We have Dusk Legion Duelist, which isn't card draw unless our commander's out. We have a lot of one-time card draw that is honestly not all that great. Like, all this Stax is just in here for no reason. Like, you have a very slow... Like, it's a control deck that's only playing control because it has no idea how it wants to win. We have a little bit of playing into the bolster thing. This is also the perfect example of my manifesto of how you build decks, which is that you can only pick 1 or 2 things if you want the deck to do them with any degree of reasonability. I love that our win cons are Herald of Secret Streams and Achroma's Will. Like, if you want a deck to do one thing good, it can do one thing phenomenally. If you want it to do 2 things, it can do 2 things okay. As soon as you're doing 3 or more things, like, they're just all bad, and it's not a cute way. Like, at the point this deck is at, just make 2 Optimus Prime decks, my man. Make one Optimus Prime deck that is a... Or actually, no. The Planeswalker control version of this deck is like a victim of the ADHD build process of this deck, because it looks like the way this deck went was, I'm going to do Optimus Prime. Okay, I'm doing Bolster. Okay, those are counters. It would be good to proliferate those counters, and if I'm doing proliferation, then I should also do proliferate. And this is the core mistake like so many Magic players make when they're like, oh, I should also do this because of a second thing I'm putting in the deck to support what my commander is doing. If you have a synergy that is not accessible from your command zone, 25 cards in the deck need to contribute to that synergy, or the only outcome of that synergy is you suck ass a little bit quicker. And even if you want to be incredibly charitable and say that Proliferate and Super Friends both count together, that's still only 17. At least your mana base is good. So we'll do this, we'll scry. That's going to bottom. I'm okay with Demolition. Listen, every once in a while a land does need to get blown up, so like real. And then I guess we fucking play Drannith Magistrate because we want somebody to cut our dick off for no reason. Play a sword. We can't cast this yet. We can't cast... Well, we can cast Citadel Siege. So we'd Citadel Siege, we'd put counters on our Drannith Magistrate. Cast our guy. Nope. Cast our guy converted. And then we'd bolster two more. So we have a fat Drannith Magistrate. So there's three decks. There's three decks that are going on here. There is a Jeskai creatures deck that has a little bit of proliferation. There is a Jeskai control Hate Bears list, which Fancy Bones, that's what you are catching on to, that could have cards like Drannith Magistrate, Archon of Emeria, and then you do things like counterspelling, and then it can be like, I'm gonna make Hate Bears big, and then my hate Bears are gonna beat you to death to win the game. And then there is somebody else's Planeswalker deck that has barged in the door, Kramer-esque, unannounced, because it heard the word proliferate, and we need to kill that deck. And if you want to have that deck, we need to have it with just a different commander. James, what we're talking about with that for Teysa Karlov is sacrificing them as a cost to activate their ability is not the same as them dying triggering an ability. They're being sacrificed to activate an ability. But yeah, like Dovin Hand of Control is in here for no reason. Because if you want to do... You may well be at a table where control is reasonable. Because at high power tables, control becomes reasonable. So maybe you're at a table where control is reasonable. Like, you know what you could do? You could build a Stax deck that would rival the Gaddock Teague player. But what you do is, instead of all these fuck-ass Planeswalkers, you have creatures like Dusk Legion Duelist, which this is very good. Esper Sentinel is very good. Constable of the Realm is very good. And then you have Hate Bears like Drannith Magistrate and Thalia, and then you just buff them up, and it's like, oh, my little Stax nerds are going to beat you to death. But these planeswalkers, zero business. And it looks like you have put in all of these... It looks like you have put in all of these, like, truly unreasonably good cards for the deck to try and prop up this rapidly disintegrating web of 3 different decks that have been pushed together. And so the fix, it's not silly. This is a completely non-functional scary deck. This is a scary deck that just falls flat because it is having a personality crisis at all times. Right? Like we do nothing till turn 3, then we play Rhystic Study. We can't even play Cytoplast Manipulator. We're gonna scry. Well, we probably need the board wipes. That's staying on top. We do this. Make a 1/1. Formulae, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Dog House. And Slow Jams, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the Dog Home. That is 1 sub further for the Warhammer stream. Alarant, exactly. Like if you want to add a related sub theme, it either needs to synergize with your commander, needs to synergize with 25 different cards in your deck, or you need to have 25 plus cards that draw you cards or tutor to make sure that you see those reduced synergies. And then, yes, for everybody asking, if you want to get in on the deck roasting, it is a Patreon redeem. That Patreon is linked in my YouTube channel description or on Twitch through the command !roast. It's a $25 redeem. You get a roast once a month. If you do buy it, thank you so much. And I appreciate everybody who has bought it thus far. Is the Red Splash only for Terror of the Peaks and Saheeli Felidar Guardian combo? Presumably, yes. And Terror of the Peaks also makes no sense here because the point of Optimus Prime is for stuff to come in with low power and toughness and then get high power and toughness. This is a combo that I don't think works the way they think it works. I think they think that when they sacrifice Prime and they come back converted, they get to... oh, wait, as long as it's their turn. So it does work on their turn. Never mind. I'm the one who can't read. So this works as long as it's their turn. I still think it is generally, like, far too specific to be worth doing. Because this is sacrifice my commander. Because this ability is built in as some degree of, like, protection for you to make sure that you don't lose your very expensive commander. And this funny combo is I'm going to give up my built-in bonus life for 6 damage. Sorry, 7 damage. Because you'd get the 1 from Bombardment, and then you'd get the 6 from Prime. And that is not nearly funny enough for how badly you're going to fucking hurt if they kill your commander after. Yeah, if they sack it on the backside, it wouldn't come back. That's why it's once a turn. On your turn, you could do it. So this is really like, it's 3 jumpstart decks that got shuffled together and then an infinite win combo. Which is very womp womp to me. So moral of the story, Blar, please do not do 3 things at once. I think you have a couple cards that are like, wow, this is me when Esper Sentinel and Draneth Magistrate are my combat win cons. I think you can build something there. I think you can build something with Sigarda's Summon, Citadel Siege, Thalia, and like these hate bears. And then I think you saw stuff with counters went proliferate, and then went what else is good with proliferate, and you are too many degrees removed from your commander at that point. And I'm not even gonna give you a fucking choice. Cut the planeswalkers. Cut them. If you like planeswalkers, that makes me mad. I'll obviously allow it. Make a Narset deck. If you want to have a Super Friends deck, if you want to have an awkwardly expensive Jeskai list that is Super Friends, just play Narset Enlightened Master and leave the Hot Wheels alone. All right, with Blar done, we are going to move to end the stream. I'm going to post the order for tomorrow's deck roasting so that we all know what is coming tomorrow. So that is the order. Tomorrow we are going to be doing at 1 p.m. Pacific. The stream is starting. We are doing Lalilulelo, Lar Lelo, then Tetrarunes, then Genio, then Yummy Socks, then Jordan Smith, then Sliver, then Bahamut, then Rick Dom. That is the order you are all going in. If that doesn't work, please email me tonight. But thank you to everybody who watched. Thank you to everybody who subscribed for the Warhammer stream. I hope you all had a good week. Looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And remember to stay toxic.